It is 12 noon. We are live day before Thanksgiving. We'll be off tomorrow. Be back here on Friday. We'll have all the fun and frivolity of the Egg Bowl beginning at 11 a.m. on Friday.
Are you saving room? Because you have your thing. You had your big family thing on Sunday, but you have your Thanksgiving Day smaller scale thing at a restaurant.
That's tomorrow, yeah.
Do you save room? Do you diet before you do this? You eat a lot?
Well,
I try to cut back.
Well, you guys see what I normally eat during lunch.
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot, but I have to eat something.
It's either chicken. It's usually chicken or turkey.
Yeah.
Typically, maybe if anything, a small side of mashed potatoes occasionally, and there'll be some barbecue sauce.
Yes.
That you'll often accompany with your chicken.
Yes. That's usually what I do. So it's not a big lunch, but tomorrow will be a big lunch because the place that we're going, it's You can't go there and not get the signature item that's on the menu.
Yes.
And that's something that I typically do not eat for lunch.
Well, that would be something.
Would you not do the same?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And as many turkeys as I've cooked over the years for people, look, they're wonderful, but I can take it or leave it. Give me one of those.
Yeah.
That you're going to be eating tomorrow.
No question. All right, let's wish an early Thanksgiving to our next guest and one of our most popular guests that we have on the show each and every week. And I'm talking about Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio in Memphis, part of the Ole Miss Radio Network. Brett, happy early holiday.
Same to y'all, and thankful so much for y'all as friends and colleagues, and thankful that y'all let me come on these airwaves in front of truly the best college football fans in the country. I am thankful for those people. I promise you, I feel a part of your audience because I know they love it like I love it, and I am truly thankful for that. And this college football season, it flies by every year. We wait all summer, and then it's a blur, and then it's the best weekend of the year, Rivalry weekend, and this is the weekend that made college football famous.
There's no doubt about that. Well, let's start with the Egg Bowl because it's coming up on Friday. And because of last Friday, Brett, you tell us, you do a daily radio show, and obviously you're connected with the Ole Miss Athletic Department. How different has it been, or has it not been a distraction at all that, hey, listen, there is a football game against the biggest rival on Friday, and whatever happens afterwards, you cannot worry about things you can't control?
That's exactly it. And Coach Kiffin has said all year, we've really been under, this cloud, these questions, these potential distractions, at least since the Georgia game, since the Florida firing of Billy Napier. And so far, it has not distracted them at all. So he's clear. He's absolutely correct that so far there's been no distractions. But now Friday will be the telltale game. Ole Miss wins, you can say win by one. You can say no distractions. Lose by one, then all the questions will come pouring out, and it feels like Saturday's result. Or Friday's result, will probably factor in somewhat into the decision making. Ole Miss wanted a little more clarity last Friday. He couldn't give it. I think he is truly torn to being tormented about it because Ole Miss has helped him in his life, and he has helped us. I told Ole Miss fan this morning, and in no ugly terms at all, but I told him pretty clear cut. If Lane were to leave, you're never going to hear me one time on or off any air, public or private, run him down, because remember what he found. Remember the wreckage of the night after Elijah Moore hiking his leg up and losing the Egg Bowl. We were out of the football business. It was over. It didn't feel like we would ever compete again. I mean, we'd gone through the freeze stuff, the NCAA stuff, the humiliation of that moment, and Lane Kiffin came in, and if he were to leave, the question I'll always ask people, did he leave it better than he found it? And that's a resounding yes.
The Southern gentleman, Brett Norsworthy, joining us on Three Man Front and joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. From what I understand, Ole Miss has gone above and beyond in trying to meet the request of Lane Kiffin in his time there, Brett, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if he made that move, it would have to be for other reasons because he's doing pretty well in Oxford. I think we'll all agree with that. What potentially could you see him leaving for? Are there unfulfilled requests that he's asked for at Ole Miss? Because I haven't seen any.
Not a one, Landrum. Now, it probably has not been quite the contractual terms that Coach Saban had with Alabama, that he never hears the word no, and he never heard the word no, and he really made it pay off. But it's been very few no's, and it hasn't been on anything that really matters. And right now, in the current construct, salary, assistant coach's salary, NIL pool, diet, nutrition, travel, taking care of the team, everything has been met. If he were to leave, I think it's just because he wants to maybe chase that more alluring job than he feels like he's in. And he's been in those. He was in one at USC, and we were told last night by Hunter Yurachek just how big USC is. He's been waiting for Oregon all year to do something where he can move them in front of Ole Miss. And we learned last night just how important USC is. Lane had that, and then it came undone. And he really saved his career and helped us so much at Ole Miss. I'm going to be his friend until the end of time. He's been great to me, the best coach I've ever been around, and we know he can coach. He's been a great guy, and I hope we win on Friday. I hope he stays, and I hope we go deep in this playoff run. And I think that's part of the torment and the real agony, and I think you can hear it in my voice, is we got a chance to win it all. Ole Miss can win it all this year, and you got to win on Friday, because I do not think Ole Miss would be in at 10-2. And I love to ask people, Ole Miss at 10-2 and Oklahoma at 10-2, who would you take? Oh, Oklahoma. Well, what happened to head-to-head?
Exactly.
What happened to going to Norman and winning? And now to hear that Oklahoma defense almost described and defined and spoken of in such hallowed term, like it's the 85 Bears. I don't see Mike Singletary walking through that door.
No, you don't. Brett Norsworthy joins us, WHBQ Radio in Memphis, also part of the Ole Miss Radio Network. All right, so I have to ask you this question. And this is Brett, the talk show host. This is not Brett from the Ole Miss Radio Network.
Right.
In the event that he decides that he wants to move on wherever, do you see a pathway for him to coach this team moving forward after Saturday?
I do, but it would be very strained and very difficult, because, Pat, we remember how controversial it was for Eddie Fogler to leave Vandy for South Carolina in basketball in the late 90s. And that was frowned upon by the league office and a lot of old guard people then. So we know the stakes now. That would be very difficult. Would I take it? Yes, personally, but that is more through the Ole Miss prism than the daily talk show host prism. I just had to be candid with you.
Brett, we look at the slate of games and ones that will impact not only the SEC race, but potentially head coaching searches, the college football playoff. We got a lot of different storylines. Which ones in the SEC do you have your eye on? Obviously, you have your eye on the entire slate, but what are the most intriguing games, not named the Iron Bowl, because we're going to talk about that one?
Well, look at these games. It is the most important Egg Bowl in Egg Bowl history. It is a potential $100 million game for Ole Miss, for the revenue it would generate for hosting a on-campus playoff game, the publicity of going into the playoffs, the coaching payouts and the new coaching staff. $100 million game on Friday afternoon at Scott Field. It is the most important Tennessee-Vandy game in Tennessee-Vandy football history. On Saturday, Vandy can win on Rocky Top, at Neyland Stadium, on Shields-Watkins Field, and potentially be in the college football playoff and have a Heisman Trophy winner. Can you imagine the pride that Vandy would how they would be to Big Orange fans to ask Tennessee, hey, how many Heismans do y'all have? And Vandy can say, we got one. So we got that game. We got a Florida State championship game that decides nothing. It used to be a de facto semifinal game, and we have a Texas A&M game that may be the most important game in that football history. First time in Texas, in Austin, since 2010 as a conference game, and we know what A&M's playing for, and potentially a 9-3 Texas. I think they could maybe backdoor a playoff game. Arkansas, Missouri, where will Eli Drinkwitz be next year? We know Arkansas is close to naming a coach. everywhere you look this weekend, the intrigue and the stories. LSU, first time to ever play football in Norman. Those two big brands finally meeting at Memorial Stadium in Norman. It's why, I mean, the good Lord knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
He sure
saves
does.
the best for last.
There is no doubt about that. All right, so talking about how deep this conference is, I brought it up yesterday on the show in regards to the television ratings and how dominating it is across the board being SEC teams. The Big Ten is nowhere to be found. Maybe 3 out of the top 20 broadcasts so far this year in college football. And it's because each and every week's there's drama. It's like a soap opera in this conference. And I bring this up because based on what you saw last night from Hunter Yurachek in the CFP rankings, when it is all said and done, when the dust settles, do we get 4? Do we get 5 in the college football playoff?
We should get 5. You could make a strong case if Tennessee were to win, and we had a 9-3 team in our Texas, well, you can make a case for 6. We sure should get 5. Now, here's going to be a good discussion point next week, and certainly after the championship game. We're going to have all these teams, but who can really win it? I just said I think Ole Miss could potentially win a national championship, but can Ole Miss win it? Can Alabama really win it all? Can Georgia stay that consistent over those weeks? We'll just have to see. But I think we should at least get 5. And if we don't, then I don't know what we're doing, and I don't know why. I mean, how many teams we have to go to for the SEC to finally get the teams in it deserves?
All right, so let's talk about the Iron Bowl because there is a lot of angst from Alabama fans like Conrad Van Order in regards to what potentially could happen down there. AL.com did a big piece this week about the place potentially being haunted, whatever the case may be.
There's no doubt it is. We know the voodoo on the plane.
Alabama is 7-10 lifetime at Jordan-Hare Stadium, but the last 2 visits, it's taken a last-second, overtime win by Bryce Young and, of course, the Gravedigger play for Alabama to get out of there with a win. Just your feeling, I know Ole Miss has not seen Auburn or Alabama up close, but you're a football connoisseur. What do you think in regards to the game?
I think it will be close. It almost always is. And Auburn, they've had a pretty good defense all year, and maybe finding a little something late in the year to have some life on offense. And that game, I promise you, and I've been to that game a bunch there. And right before the game starts, when they do the cheers and chants, and they do the Weagle, Eagle, War Damn Eagle, I'm telling you, you can feel it in that stadium that something big's getting ready to happen. There's no feeling like it. One time I've been to Michigan, Ohio State. I've been to probably 20 Iron Bowls. There's nothing close to it. There's nothing close to it on campus in Tuscaloosa or at Auburn, and it was great at Legion Field. And I was at the very last one at Legion Field in 1998 and was really honored. One of the great things I've gotten to do in my sports life is be at the last Iron Bowl at Legion Field.
Brett Norsworthy joining us, WHBQ there in Memphis, also part of the Ole Miss Radio Broadcast Network. He is bringing us his I Ain't Scared bold predictions of the college football season. Brett is always the first.
He's 9-4? Is that right, Brett? 9-4?
9-4?
No, now 9-5. I lost Arkansas last week. I had Arkansas plus 8.5, and they just couldn't match Texas. Bobby Petrino, he gave up 52 the first time he went to Austin as Arkansas coach in 2008, and he gave up 52 the last time he'll go to Austin as Arkansas head coach. They're moving on from him. It's about time. So I lost last week. I'm 9-5 with 5 straight up. And this game that I'm going to pick, it really plays in to maybe the SEC getting 4 or 5 in. And it was the new shiny toy last night. Oregon, they go into Seattle to play the Washington Huskies. Washington plus the 6.5. How many? Let me make sure. 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. Straight up, Washington beats Oregon, and we need that in the SEC.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, especially since Oregon leapfrogged Ole Miss last night. Man, great stuff. Well, Brett, I know it's going to be a wild next couple of days, Thanksgiving, and, of course, the Egg Bowl coming up on Friday. We're very thankful for our friendship and you and what you do during the football season, but all year long, because obviously our friendship goes very deep. But we appreciate it as always, and we look forward to chatting again next Thursday.
Thanks, Brett.
It's an honor to call y'all friends and be with y'all. Thank you.
Thank you so
Likewise.
much. That is Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio in Memphis, part of the Ole Miss Radio Network. When we return, we will take more of your texts, your phone calls. Bottom of the hour, Trey Wallace from Outkick. This is Three Man Front on Jocks. Always a great conversation with Brett Norsworthy, WHBQ Radio in Memphis. Should be a very interesting game coming up in Starkville. I guess the big question, Landrum, is do we anticipate anything's going to leak out before the game? And then after the game, think about this. Let's say Ole Miss wins and you're having a conversation. This literally is going to be, not the conversation, he's having a press conference.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the last potential time that the Ole Miss media will get an opportunity to ask Lane Kiffin questions. Like, does he come out after the game and say, we said that we'll have something on that tomorrow, so don't ask me again? But you heard that clip we played yesterday. I mean, they will continue to kind of poke.
Yeah, a win is it's only going to ramp up the conversation.
Yeah, because he sends out a press release, and I'm assuming that he's leaving, And they sent out a press release and said, I love my time in Oxford. Thank you so much. My life turned around. Great to run the program, blah, 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 blah. But he's not coming back. He's not doing an impromptu Q&A with Neil McCready or anybody that's covering the Ole Miss football program. So that's it on Friday after the game, one way or another. So do they cut it off at the pass, or do they let the media have at him?
And if he does agree that he's not coming back, do they let him coach either an SEC championship game or a college football playoff? You said that people you've talked to, some of those folks do not believe that that will ever happen.
That is correct. The people that I talked to,
Good
they have
riddance. We'll take our chances with
Joe
Pete
Judge.
Golding or Joe Judge or whoever's going to be running the team.
Yep. That is what I have been told.
Well, it's just a shame. I don't know if Lane has done more at Ole Miss than he even thought that he could do, but seeing that marriage and how well it's gone, for the most part, winning games, 50 games in that stretch, was that the most in Ole Miss history?
Mm-hmm.
Be beloved. Your family loves it there. Seen all the stories. It feels like you're in a good place, and now you're not going to even be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I feel sorry for the fans. And there's definitely some sentiment there and some sympathy for the players. But before you go crying a tear for Johnny or Joey, just remember that there's a good chance that if they got eligibility left and they're worth a salt, which they probably are, they might be joining your old head coach at his new job.
Yeah.
So it's more for the fans for me, because that is a fan base that has been starved for quite some time.
They have. And on top of that, there was a flirtation with Auburn a few years ago.
Right.
So they've already been down this road before. So that's why this is not his first dalliance with somebody else. So I think that's why the folks in Mississippi would be like, no, thank you. Okay. We're not giving you the opportunity to be in this facility every day and continue to recruit our roster.
We've given you everything that we can give you, but we're not giving you this. Not this request.
And just based on his history, right, there's a good chance that while it may sting right now if you're an Ole Miss fan and he leaves, there's a very good chance based on his track record that in the next 5 years you're going to have an opportunity to look at wherever he goes and go, see, we told you so. This is what we wanted to avoid. He's doing it to y'all now. He's playing you like a fiddle. Because that's what Lane Kiffin's – that's what he does.
And think about this a couple of years ago, and I'll never forget this. And, I have a lot of family in Mississippi, and my sister went to Ole Miss. But needless to say, when you talk about the states of Alabama and Mississippi, you're talking about per capita, two of the poorer states in the United States. And so there's not a lot of disposable income. So when you're paying Lane Kiffin $9 million at the University of Mississippi, and good, hardworking people in the state of Mississippi give whatever they can to an NIL collective for that roster, it may be easier in different parts of the world like Texas, but in the state of Mississippi, you're asking a lot of really hardworking people to really sacrifice potentially the bottom dollar to try to help out the football program. And that same thing goes with Mississippi State, okay? It's not just an Ole Miss thing. So I think that's the other area of this that is really going to piss people off, that he ultimately says, I'm leaving. Because when they needed to, when he decided not to go to Auburn, they stepped up to make Ole Miss the number one collective in the Southeastern Conference. Number one. It wasn't Texas A&M. It was Ole Miss. It was everybody else in the conference wanted to duplicate what was going on in Oxford with the NIL. That was because the hardworking people stepped up to make that happen.
Well, if Lane goes to LSU, I want to know why he left Ole Miss.
Don't you think you will get the answer of, I needed another challenge?
Let me rephrase that. I want to get the real answers to why he left.
Oh,
Ole
the
Miss.
real reason. Not the
or
one that
in
he's
addition to, I wanted another challenge.
Yeah.
History of the program. My daughter's dating one of their players. I want to hear something other than that. Are they still together? I don't know. Conrad,
See,
just looked up real quick.
See, that's the thing that's so perplexing to me, because we talk about it, just the changing of the guard in college football. You can be in Bloomington. You can be in Oxford. You can be in all these different places. You don't have to be in Tuscaloosa or Auburn or Athens or College Station or Austin to potentially win a national championship.
Well, that's why I want to hear from him. No, I continually ask for something. That's why I asked Brett the question I asked him. I continually ask for this, and they continue to tell me that I was going to get it, and they didn't do it. And you know what? I've had enough. I'm tired of asking for things and then not giving me enough. And LSU says that they're going to give me something. They're going to give me all of these things. That's what I want to hear from him. But I don't think we'll ever get the whole story of why he's leaving, if he does leave.
Yeah. Coming up next on Three Man Front, Trey Wallace. Who knows? We might have another coaching hire.
Lane might not even know why he's leaving.
Because every time Trey Wallace is on, something big happens.
I know. A
Pope was named. There's been multiple times.
We've already had the Arkansas breaking news.
Yeah.
But do we get, who knows what could happen at this point?
The Nick Castellanos of college football. Trey Wallace joins us next. Well, I'm a little disappointed that the University of Arkansas did not wait until 12:30 to break the news about Alex Golish, because usually Trey Wallace from Outkick is on this program and something big happens. He's the Nick Castellanos of college football on this show.
Yes.
Trey Wallace joins us now from Outkick.
When
Hey, Trey.
news breaks, Trey Wallace is on three-man front.
Yes. Hey, Trey.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Oh, just kind of hanging out, getting ready for a historic Egg Bowl on Friday, Iron Bowl on Saturday night. Man, life is good.
Yeah, it is. It's pleasant. Just got into the Starkville, Mississippi area. I'll be spending my Thanksgiving down here in Mississippi. So,
You staying in Starkville or Columbus? Where are you staying?
I actually got lucky, man. Like somehow a room came open in Starkville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, made it a little easy for me. So yeah, I'll be in Starkville, and yeah, man, it should be an interesting atmosphere on Friday morning, and to say the least.
We're going to get into the football games themselves, but can we just start with Lane Kiffin and any rumblings that you're hearing at this hour?
Yeah, I think there's a part of me after talking with enough folks about this that think this thing could turn back into Ole Miss's favor. Obviously, there would need to be some PR handled. Maybe that's the best way to put it. With everything that has gone on over the last, what's it been, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, guys? So if there's a way back from that, I honestly think there is. You would have to play up to the boosters and the crowd and whatnot. It would be pretty much the ultimate heel turn. When everybody thinks he's going to go one way, he goes the other. I just, in talking with some folks up there in Oxford, he just is, I don't know what the right word is for it. He's really going back and forth. One day last week, he was, all right, I'm going to stay. The next day, it's all right, I'm going to go. And so you got a set of coaches around there that are trying to figure out what's going on. They have no clue. And I think a lot of it has been, I'm not going to say smoke screen because that's really not the right word. You had Lane Kiffin's representatives meeting with Florida folks last Thursday in Louisiana. This thing, all parties were putting in their final offers, and I don't think anything's final when it comes to an offer. I think one could come back on the other. It's just been an interesting follow, guys. And I'm captivated by what is going to happen with the college football playoff as well, because I know we're going to get into it, but Hunter Yurichek and Rich Clark last night were absolutely lost. And it's embarrassing that we're at this point when we're talking about Ole Miss, when this stuff has been in the news. And so they did. It's funny. I'm not trying to give a long answer here, but On3 did something where they polled all the media members that they can get in touch with, and they asked, where do you think they're going to go? Well, I decided to mess with them a little bit because I really don't feel like giving out my sources in my final prediction. So I just said the Tennessee Titans.
That was good.
So getting a little feedback on that, but trying to explain, I honestly think he is he's back and forth on this, but I do think Saturday, guys, we get a conclusion to this chapter. They want an answer, and he knows he's got to give it. And I think that also the interesting part of where you might get this from is, and I think I might have said this last week on the show, but whichever team is out of the running on this is going to be the one that leaks it to their local guys, and that's when that's when everything will just start snowballing from there.
So I'm also fascinated by the media side of this, because by laying out a Saturday determination, so Friday he's going to have to meet with the media post game.
Yes,
and this potentially could be the last time that the Ole Miss beat writers have a chance to actually ask him questions. Do you think they had that off at the pass? They don't allow these type questions, or is it going to be carte blanche, especially if Ole Miss believes that the ultimate answer is going to be he's leaving? How is that going to be handled after the game?
I'll tell you this, I didn't come to Starkville, Mississippi for Thanksgiving to have my questions shut down in a press conference. I'll tell you that.
Hallelujah. Amen.
I'm just going to be honest with you guys. There's no more running from this. This has been a scenario and a situation that if Lane Kiffin wants to act as if he's had nothing to do with this. Man, I got oceanfront property in Kentucky that I'd love to interest some folks in. This has been a bleep show. Can't say what I want to say on the radio. And I think at the same time, guys, what we get post game, they can come out there and say, look, you know what, we're going to talk about the game. And I'll be like, no. You said that you were going to talk about it once the season's in. So technically the regular season's over. So it's time to start talking.
Yep.
Why did we get to this point? What did you make of your family going down there? What have you made from your representative talking to both schools and Ole Miss? Why did it feel like a Broadway play when you went on Pat McAfee a week and a half ago and just acted as if I've never seen Lane Kiffin act before? There's a lot of questions he's going to have to answer. And here's the thing too. I don't know what Saturday would hold in terms of a press conference from Keith Carter if they decide to do that. I would imagine they would put that off till Monday if Lane does decide to move on. If Lane decides to say, do they hold a press conference? I don't know. This is where it gets a little tricky for me because this is a spot where they got to talk about it, man, and they can't keep running from this. And they could sit there and act on Monday that he's going to just talk about everything that's going on the football team. But at the same time, you got 4 players, that are putting out these tweets trying to act as if nothing is going on. One of them forgot to take the quotation marks out of it that he got sent probably by a football ops guy. So you can't make this stuff up. And it's time to answer some questions, man. You can't run from it. That's what I'm getting at.
Trey Wallace, senior reporter covering college sports for Outkick and Fox at Trey Wallace _ there on X, and he joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. All right, let's switch our attention not only to the Iron Bowl, but what's going on around Auburn and John Cohen, their athletics director, his coaching search for Auburn's next head coach. It has been pretty steadfast that John Summerall, leader in the clubhouse, more smoke, at least in the last couple of days, that DJ Durkin's name could be rising up, whatever list, however long it is, for John Cohen. What are you hearing on Auburn and potentially who and when could that next head coach be named?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is John Summerall can't sit around and wait for Ole Miss because we just don't know. I mean, look, guys, it wouldn't be – and I'm not saying John Summerall would take the Ole Miss job over Auburn. I don't want that to be interpreted a different way. I'm saying that there's always leverage in these situations. I do know that Ole Miss has had contact with Summerall's reps, and that would be Clint Dowdle. But I think Auburn – is trying to land this plane with John Summerall, and they would allow him, if the opportunity presents itself for Tulane, for him to coach his team through the playoff. And I think that's the big difference as well. I'm not trying to compare situations with like Lane Kiffin and potentially coaching the playoff, but there's a big difference between going to a rival school, if that's what that ends up happening, compared to, John Summerall taking the Auburn job per se, if he does. I think it would be great promotion for the school if John Cohen can finish this thing off. And so now we sit here and we kind of wait. I think that Cohen has done a really good job of keeping this thing close to the vest. At the same time, DJ Durkin, I have mixed feelings on DJ Durkin, and I think a lot of people out there do. I think he's a good coach. I honestly think he's a good dude. It's hard to run away from the stuff that happened. What was it, 8-9 years ago? I get that, 10 years ago. But everyone deserves a second chance, and I'm not trying to say that what happened was right. I'm not trying to condemn it either way, but I think what he's done at Auburn, and I think at the same time too, look, if he even got asked to stick around and be the DC, he'd be the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country. I think they could give him that. Now, I'm sure there'll be some raises that happen in the offseason here that probably that number goes down a little bit. But I just think that Auburn is zeroed in on the right candidate. And there's a lot of things that go their way. I mean, I get the whole family dynamic for Summerall in the state. I get where he coached previously. I know John. John's a really good coach. John, folks out there like to throw that G5, G6 stigma on some of these coaches. And I'm just telling you, some of them don't deserve it. Don't look at what Florida did with Billy Napier and how that worked out as an indictment on other coaches potentially taking that risk. Alex Golis at Arkansas, maybe Summerall at Auburn, Eric Morris, Oklahoma State. Like, there's some really darn good coaches out there, and I think it would be beneficial for Auburn to try to bring this bad boy in and get something signed with him and move on. So, this is a big 3 days for the Auburn Tigers.
Do you see a scenario, could you see it playing out where John Summerall, John Cohen, kind of a wink and a nod before everything's official?
I think that would work more so than maybe at other schools. I do. A lot of folks like to throw out the MOUs and all that good stuff, and how would they hold up in court and everything like that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, there are being MOUs signed all across college football right now quietly. So I think that there could be that wink and that nod situation. Be like, hey, man, look, you're our guy. This is where we're going to go. Let's get to after the Iron Bowl, potentially Sunday or Monday, and understand what Tulane is fighting for right now, because you do not want attention detoured away. You don't want to do the injustice to Tulane by announcing something, having something leaked that he's leaving before they got to go play a football game with their CFP hopes on the line. So I think that, something would get done before like a conference title game and whatnot, but with the full under the impression that, hey, look, he's going to be our guy through the playoff.
All right, Trey, you kind of mentioned it earlier, the CFP, another resounding, outstanding performance by Hunter Yurachek and the CFP committee last night. Still all over the place if you're trying to set up a precedence on how they're going to ultimately vote on Selection Sunday. Just your overall thoughts, and is the SEC in trouble, especially Alabama?
First off, it's turned into a joke. Sorry for all the CFP committee members that Mac Rhodes is no longer on there anymore. I guess that's my fault. But at the same time, they keep changing their data points. They keep changing the talking points. Last night I'm sitting there at one part, I'm listening to Hunter Yurachek. The next part, I'm listening to Rich Clark. Well, that easily tells me that Hunter Yurachek is not up to speed on certain things when it comes to the committee, when Rich Clark has got to butt in and start commenting on this stuff. Like, let's just be real honest with each other. I think that they have, when they moved Oregon in front of Ole Miss, okay, and then Hunter Yurachek wants to throw the 6-7 thing, and I have no idea what that means. I'm in my 30s. I still have no idea what that means. And I just think it goes to show you he looks lost, man. So when we're talking about schools like Miami and Notre Dame, what happens with Alabama if they catch an L in the SEC title game, if they were to beat Auburn this weekend? What are the metrics that we're using? I go back to and I posted it last night on social media. I go back to a comment that they made about Oregon. Like, they're still taking that win against Penn State into high consideration because Penn State is a hard place to play at. Okay, again, I can say that about half the teams in college football. I mean, Ole Miss is going into Starkville this weekend, and there'll be cowbells galore. It's a tough place to play. Like, I just don't know what these folks are using as their measuring point. And I don't think they know either. I mean, we sat there and we had a conversation about Lane Kiffin last night. They didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer. What if Lane Kiffin is not involved with Ole Miss? What would happen? Would that be used? And they could, they came back and said, well, it could be used. It's like, man, you guys are lost. So I think that what we're seeing right now is in the SEC, I think the chaos could happen if LSU beats Oklahoma or Auburn beats Alabama, because Vanderbilt is hanging around right now, and they got an opportunity to go on the road to Knoxville and beat a top 20 Tennessee team. And if that's the case and you get a little chaos in front of you, could something happen? But then I'll throw it back at the other way. If Texas beats Texas A&M, they could jump a 9-3 team over a 10-2 Vanderbilt squad that they have a head-to-head win. So this is where it gets a little complicated for the SEC, truly. I don't think it should matter one bit what happens in the SEC title game. If Alabama were to make it and they play Texas A&M, the loser of that game should still be in the playoff, and I'm talking about Alabama standpoint, not Texas A&M, because
Sure.
they would probably only catch one or two. But what I'm getting at, guys, we're at the same spot as we were the first time the CFB rankings were released 3 weeks ago, where we're just all grasping for answers here, and at the same time, I just feel like they've done a terrible job at projecting through words what they are actually measuring these different teams with.
Trey, I'm going to put you on the spot if you don't mind. Right now, just projecting what your gut tells you. Who is LSU's next head coach?
I knew you'd do this, dude.
Oh, okay. Hey, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Lincoln Riley.
Okay. Auburn.
John Summerall.
Florida.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. This is where it gets a little tricky here because there could be two dominoes that fall in this situation. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't give you an answer. I'm back and forth on Florida right now on what happens because Drinkwitz is about to get a fat contract from Missouri here in the next couple of days, and Drinkwitz is always down on that list. It could be a situation where, and this is just stuff I've heard, if they strike out on Kiffin per se, do they also try to go after Lincoln? So I think the better fit for Lane Kiffin is Florida if he decides to leave. So right now, what I'll say is I'll just go with I'll go with Lane Kiffin to Florida over LSU.
But you didn't hear Lincoln Riley telling everybody that he's so happy there in L.A.?
Man, kind of sounds like stuff he was saying at Oklahoma. It's pretty interesting, right? It's like all these guys get the same talking points from their reps before they meet with the media. It's kind of interesting how that stuff seems to happen, right?
Yeah, it is. Hey, Trey, listen, enjoy Starkville, and we're thankful for you being a part of this program each and every week, and hope you have a nice Thanksgiving over in North Mississippi, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Guys, this has been a blessing to be on with you all during the season. It's been a lot of fun. Look forward to continue doing it the rest of the way, and hope you guys and everybody and all the listeners have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you,
Trey.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you so much. One of the best in the business joins us each and every week. He joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, Trey told us a lot to discuss. We continue on Three Man Front. Always a fun conversation. Trey Wallace of Fox and Outkick giving his thoughts on Lane Kiffin, giving his thoughts on Auburn, John Summerall, potentially who could land at Florida. All of that available. JocksFM.com and the 3-Man Front podcast. We got more coming up. A lot of your text weighing in on all of these topics that we've been discussing throughout the length of the program. I want to tell you about our friends at Mandu. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. And with tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of eating. There's going to be a lot of eating tomorrow, on Friday, through the weekend for the Iron Bowl with the tailgating and watching games. But also the holiday season tends to lend to eating more than you customarily do. Why not get a head start on it with our friends at Mandu, electrical muscle stimulation fitness? It's a 15-minute workout that gets results as if you were in a gym for 6 hours. Because of that technology that's all FDA approved, I've done Mandu and got a lot of results. Damian Mitchell here at Jocks has as well. Every Jocks listener has taken me up, at least on the first free visit, and then decided to join Mandu, and they'll put you through the workout on that first visit. They've said, Landrum, you were right. I was skeptical, but you were right. I've gotten results. You can get results too. Mandu, first visit free. They'll put you through the workout. Try it to see if you like it. Mention Jocks, 10% off your membership throughout your membership, the life of the membership. 15% off if you're a student and you mention Jocks as well. Great gift idea for a significant other, or maybe give it to yourself. The gift of health, better health. Mandu, MANDUU.com. Tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jocks sent you. Texts coming in, a lot of texts that are coming in. In case you missed it, Alex Golish, South Florida head coach, born in Moscow. Wife, big Arkansas fan. He has been named, reported to be the next head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. So good news for Alex Golish. Yesterday, Eric Morris, North Texas head coach, he gets named at Oklahoma State. Still up in the air. What's going to happen in the SEC? What's going to happen at Penn State? That job's still around. Text line is open. Bartman texting in. It's naive to think Lane isn't going to recruit the Ole Miss roster if they don't let him coach. And also, Lane is under contract with Ole Miss. Can they just suspend him, like legally, contractually, for no reason? I don't know how that works. JR, with less than 5 minutes on the game clock Saturday in Oxford, pre-recorded message will be played on Jumbotron announcing Lane is staying.
The game's actually played in Starkville.
Yeah. So play it on the video board there in Vaught Hemingway.
With nobody in there.
With nobody in there.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Except maybe Juice. Maybe you think Juice makes the trip? Does he just leave straight from Starkville?
I think Juice is already down in Baton Rouge looking at dog houses.
Is that where that picture was taken?
In his new abode?
This question, Landrum, what's the scuttlebutt about DJ now? We'll get into it next.